What's up, everybody? This is the Quant Edge Video Series presented by FantasySportsMarkets.com. He, of course, is Derek Brown. I am Ben Heisler, and we are talking today about Ezekiel Elliott. Situation currently with the Cowboys remains to be a standstill. He is reportedly not showing up to camp until he has a deal. And not only that, Derek, but Ezekiel Elliott says he's not going to play in 2019 if he doesn't get the contract that he wants. That, according to Josina Anderson of ESPN. So a lot to digest here. Let's start with the impact that Ezekiel Elliott has when he's off the field for Dallas, because all of a sudden the dynamic completely changes for their offense.
Oh, yeah, Ben. So obviously, I mean, the easy low-hanging fruit here is that without Zeke, you would expect the Cowboys to go more pass heavy, which if you head over to the Quant Edge, look at the injury impact tool, you take Zeke off the field. That's exactly what you see. Their pass percentage goes from 52.8% to 63%. The interesting thing, though, is that also, because we know how involved Zeke has been in the past, that their explosive pass rate goes from 12 to 16.8%, which I find very interesting in the sense that Dak is a guy that we've seen, I mean, shoot it down the field some, but more times miss on some of those shots. So how that impacts their passing offense if they go more pass heavy is very interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue that Dak's going to have to address. And again, that's another guy that's looking for a new potential deal. Same with Amari Cooper. Dallas is going to have to figure out who they're going to want to give these deals to moving forward. But let's go back to the running game for just a second. Right now, the Cowboys have a slew of running backs after Ezekiel Elliott. Nobody's really sure what their role is going to be. The sort of the sexy name right now is Tony Pollard. But is that going to be the main guy if Zeke ends up missing any time? Is it going to be the Alfred Morris show again? Are we looking at somebody like a Darius Jackson? Like, who can we trust in the Dallas backfield, if anybody?
I think that the trust needs to be counted and weighed very, very carefully for any of these running backs. I know Pollard's getting all the press and the ink, and Twitter just loves him a lot. I understand that. We have a new offensive coordinator coming into Dallas this year with Kellen Moore, so really to sit here and speculate who is going to get what is very premature when we haven't had preseason action to even kind of dive into and look at. My early lean is probably Alfred Morris that is going to get the lion's share here. We saw Dallas sign him. He knows the system. He was productive, albeit in short spurts, with the 49ers last year behind this, what we hope is going to be a healthy top 5 Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Obviously, I think Morris can run behind that because we've seen other running backs that of replaceability like Rod Smith run behind it well. So I'd lean Morris, and I'm not going to say I'm totally shying away from Pollard because I think that under Kellen Moore this year we could see more of a committee and the running backs again used in the passing game, but I don't know, man. I think it's honestly just going to be a mess, Ben.
Yeah, I think so too. Pollard is certainly intriguing because of the athleticism and the speed and the skill set. Maybe they use him out to catch passes in a sort of a Tavon Austin role, but except they actually take advantage of his skill set as opposed to just sort of wasting Austin and not figuring out a way to really maximize him. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Last but not least, you talked about the explosive pass percentage, looking at the Quant Edge tool, how it went from 12.8% with Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield to 16.8% when he wasn't there. One of those guys that you would expect to take advantage in his second year in this system is Michael Gallup. This is a guy that put up incredible numbers if he would have caught the passes. I think he had 68 targets and only completions in the 30-somethings, but he was an air yards massive machine, and you have some of those numbers out in front of you, but this is an opportunity for Michael Gallup to take a massive step in the right direction.
And that's honestly where if Zeke is not on the field, that's where people need to be buying in. They need to be taking those late-round shots with Michael Gallup, because if you look at last year, Michael Gallup, without Zeke on the field, his target share went from 13.6 to 15.9%. But in the red zone is where he took a massive leap. 13% red zone target share jumps to 22. And it's a small sample size, so it's only 182 snaps. But still, that needs to be mentioned here because he's a guy, look, going into his second year, but in his rookie season, you're talking about air yards. He led the team in air yards last year. 25% of their market share of air yards. So this is going to be a more pass-heavy offense without Zeke on the field. The spot where people need to be buying in, both in downfield usage and red zone usage, I think is Michael Gallup. He's the lock button right here.
One other note that you actually mentioned to me before we started taping, don't forget about the tight ends in Dallas as well. All of a sudden with Zeke off the field, the red zone target percentage for Blake Jarwin jumped from 6% to over 22%, and the touchdown rate went from 3.2% to 23.1% as well. So something to keep in mind when you're trying to figure out what's happening with the Dallas tight end situation this year. Maybe there's a few more opportunities for old man Jason Witten as he rumbles down and tries to get some opportunities in the red zone. If you guys like these videos, make sure you guys are following us and subscribing on our YouTube channels for the Quant Edge and the Fantasy Sports Markets Network. And also, if you love DFS but don't like salary caps and the constraints that those have, make sure you guys are playing our preseason contests for free all throughout the preseason at fantasysportsmarkets.com. For Derek, I'm Ben. Thank you guys for watching. This is the Quant Edge Video Series presented by Fantasy Sports Markets.